The Bible is not the Word of God. Good morning, everybody. This is Avi Penhallow. I am the presiding bishop of the Martoma Orthodox Church and the host of All Things Reconciled every Sunday at 4 p.m. on the Proximity Portal Network. And we've been going over a series of breaking down the late Archbishop Veron Ashe's messages. In particular, There's Got to Be More. We just concluded the series on There's Got to Be More, and this week I have a homework assignment for you, and that would be to watch the video. I'll put it in the comments here. Watch the YouTube video of Archbishop Veron Ashe and his message, The Mystery of Silence. The Mystery of Silence. It'll be right in the comments here. I want you to watch that because that's going to be the next full message of Veron Ashe that we break down on All Things Reconciled. Now, I started this off by saying that the Bible is not the Word of God. And that is a direct quote from this message from Archbishop Veron Ashe, The Mystery of Silence. If you want to know what he meant by that, because you can pretty much assume that that's a very provocative statement, that the Bible is not the Word of God. And so you may have heard me say this before, so if you've been joining the program, you already know what we mean when we say that. But your homework assignment, go ahead and watch and rewatch if you've seen it years ago. Archbishop Veron Ashe's message, There's Got to Be More, The Mystery of Silence. And we were going to break that down this Sunday at 4 p.m. live. Bring your questions, bring your thoughts, bring your comments, only on the Proximity Portal YouTube channel. And we will talk about that. We will talk about one of the most important things of this message that I just think is absolutely genius. You know, Veron Ashe was a genius, right? One of the things that the Archbishop said in this message completely transformed my understanding of the history of the Pentecostal church worldwide, but fundamentally starting in the United States. And he addresses the subject of why did Pentecostals, with such a powerful movement at the very, very beginning, why did very quickly the Pentecostal church start to reflect? Because it began as this dynamic and diverse group of people, and all of us, and then very soon after we had a bunch of denominations and fragmentation that happened in the Pentecostal church, and churches segregated along at the very beginning. People of all kinds were coming together, experiencing this transformative power of Pentecostalism. Now, there's a religious scholar, and I'll talk about him on the show too. His name was Dr. Harvey Cox. He's a Harvard scholar of religion. He wrote a book about 20 years ago, and he was not a Pentecostal himself. His most famous work was called The Secular City. He also wrote another book called Many Mansions, and it was more of an exploration of religion from an academic standpoint. But he also wrote a book near the latter part of his life called Fire from Heaven, how the rise of Pentecostalism and the reshaping of religion in the 20th century. In that book, Dr. Harvey Cox makes a comparison between jazz, the music genre jazz from the Harlem Renaissance and beyond, and Pentecostalism. And it's a very fascinating academic treatise. And I think that there were some profound insights, because sometimes it's very necessary to have an outside opinion or an outside assessment of things, because when you're on the inside of something, you have a deep knowledge of it and an intuitive knowledge, but also familiarity breeds contempt. You may not understand the full context of what it is that you're a part of. And so it's nice sometimes to have an objective third party, look in and make an assessment, especially someone with so much immense knowledge as Dr. Harvey Cox. But before that book was ever written, Archbishop Veron Ashe had already pointed out some of the most important academic distinctions of the historical context of Pentecostalism. And he does something that the religious scholar Harvey Cox could not do. He spoke to the situation as an insider. Not only that, I have never heard the points that Archbishop Veron Ashe made about Azusa in any academic book that I've read concerning Pentecostalism, including those written by Pentecostals themselves. So he points out a very, very important historical fact about Pentecostalism that you're going to need to know if you want to understand how is it that something so dynamic and in the spirit-filled movement so quickly turned towards religious fundamentalism and echoed the same things that the larger denominations at the time were saying, and they conformed to fundamentalist biblical perspectives. Early Pentecostals were definitely not under the influence of fundamentalism, but very quickly began to fragment into denominations. And again, it reflected some of the social norms of the time, racial segregation and such. And so I listened to this message recently, Archbishop Ashe's The Mystery or the Meaning of the Voice. The Meaning of the Voice is the message. And it blew me away how many things he was saying in there that I had not considered, long ago when I first became a Pentecostal. And then he was ahead of his time. He was also ahead of a Harvard Divinity School religious scholar, Dr. Harvey Cox. And Dr. Cox's book, Fire from Heaven, is a must read for anybody who was involved in the Pentecostal movement or is currently still in the Pentecostal church, because it does offer that a contextual understanding of the movement, along with some of the important social components of the time. But Veron Ashe was way out ahead of Dr. Harvey Cox on this matter. And so this Sunday, we're going to break down the entire message like a watch party. We're going to break down the meaning of the voice that he preached at Dr. Carlton or Bishop Carlton Pearson's Azusa conference, I believe. So join us. I'm going to put the link below to that video on YouTube. It's not it was put out by somebody in Russia, has a lot of Veron Ashe's teachings and put them out there. A lot of you have probably seen it already, but your homework is to actually watch it again, because the things that I'll bring to you on Sunday as we break it down in the watch party and we discuss together, it's going to be good, you guys. So the meaning of the voice, I'll drop the comment, or I'll put it in the comment right below here. I've also recently posted it. You don't want to miss this one because, like I said, I was blown away when I saw what Veron Ashe was doing in telling the history of Pentecostalism and answering the question, how did the early Pentecostal movement so quickly get absorbed by denominationalism and by factionalism and by biblical literalism and fundamentalism? So that you don't want to miss. And then in that message, as I started this video this morning, he makes this statement that the Bible is not the Word of God. Yeah. So you got a couple days to do your homework. Love you. Bless you. Bring your comments and questions. All Things Reconciled, 4 p.m. Sunday. Here we go. Have a great day, everyone.